Hey, it's Mr. Calderon with Queen My Pawn. So I get a really common question all the time. How do I get good at chess? And getting good at chess doesn't have to be so complicated. When it actually comes to chess itself, well, here's what I show off at the beginning. Quick and easy ways to win the game, which will get you so far until you start facing stronger opposition. Then you have to get creative and find other ways to get to the king, right? I mean, everyone knows about fool's mate, for example, when the opponent willingly gives up the king and the king is trapped and has nowhere to run. First of all, nothing can capture this queen. No one can block the queen and the king cannot run, so it's checkmate. So checkmate is never that easy. Usually you have to wait for an opponent's mistake, and sometimes that doesn't even come, but your opponent maybe makes some positional inaccuracies and then you take advantage of that. So you get a good endgame. So the point is that you have to get great at the endgame, not good at the endgame, not so-so, you have to get great at the endgame. When you start off, it's not going to be practical because you're going to be killing everyone in the middle game. Maybe even in the opening when they drop pieces. Like when you start off at chess, everyone drops pieces left and right. They think it's Christmas. It's like being at the all-you-can-eat buffet at Chinatown. But then you start getting better. People are dropping less and less pieces. Maybe like at my level, people only drop pieces in time trouble. And even then, rarely. So the thing that sets us all apart is the end game. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Like over here, I'm playing another fellow 2300. And so I'm starting off with the French. Like normally I like to trade this, but I've been seeing that doesn't give me such a good game anymore. So I'm like, let me step up my game and let me play knight c3. To be honest, I don't know anything except for one game, which is the Steinitz variation, which goes something like knight f6, e5, knight fd7, f4, c5, and then pawn takes pawn. And if you're curious, the game is Steinitz versus, it was in 1884. And I'm gonna actually look it up because I've forgotten. I shouldn't have forgotten, but let me go ahead and show you which it is. I'm looking it up right now. Steinitz against Salmon. Yes. So Steinitz Salmon. I mean, I normally just use ChessBase for this, but since we're on the internet and everything's free, Steinitz Salmon. Maybe it wasn't in 1884, 1885. I was off by a year. So you could see that for the first time ever, he plays this, which releases the central tension, but the game becomes all about the d4 square. So that's how far I've gotten in studying openings. It all has to do with the center somehow. So I know that black wants to push this pawn to activate his bishop. So I need to stop that pawn by blocking d4. But that's not how the actual game went. Instead, he took over here, giving me d4 against c6. Okay, great. So I have a central preponderance. So I should have a comfortable edge the whole game. Basically, black just wants to make it out alive, even though if he's going to give up an edge to white in the end. So basically, if white's good in the end game, he should be able to win. Like if we look at the percentages, like white's winning. Look at that. 37% and 15% black, you know, like the percentages are all in favor of white. Just basically, just look at the center. All right, so anyways, I don't know how to play this. All I know is that there's a pin here and, you know, that's how you stop this knight from getting captured. And that's as far as I know against the Rubinstein. So I'm expecting my tactics and strategy to carry me through. So let's see what happens. I could put the link in the chat to the video, to the game. Okay, so now basically I'm ahead in development. He's got a bad bishop. well, not bad, but inactive. I've already traded off my bad bishop because over here, this bishop, I don't need to keep it. It's going to be blocked in by this pawn. Let me go ahead. I skipped too far ahead over here. Okay, so hold on. Let's go back. Let me start over. Sorry. All right, so I find that trading the knight here is okay for me because now I have more pieces out. I'm developed more and it's okay. That's not a good move because I can play c4 instantly and gain more space. I see that the queen side is not going to be a safe place for my king. So basically, I'm making sure that I'm safe, but I need to control this. I see he wants to play bishop c6 to take over here, basic tactics, but I've already defended against all that. He cannot play bishop c6 because knight takes. Although that would be interesting because then pawn takes, but then I have bishop to 3 attacking his rook, which goes to b8 to attack my pawn. And then I would probably take this pawn, but I don't want to get that rook active though. So it could have been an interesting game. Because if I play b3, he plays c5, trying to undouble his pawns. But then I just take it and I get a free pawn, right? So it looks. But even if he does win the pawn back, I would have only 1 pawn island versus his 2. So it'd be okay. So that's another skill that you need to get good is visualization. Like I visualized all of that right now. So I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's trying to get out of danger, I guess, and push b6. I mean, that's just not that good. So, oh, this move is over here important because I have nothing left to do. I don't know if I'm going to bring the rook out yet. So I need to get some air from my king just in case he somehow penetrates the back rank. And this also prevents the knight from coming here. I have nothing left to do. A4 is a strong move indeed, because it could prevent the pawn from coming here. And, you know, like it would limit support of this pawn. I didn't know that until later. My king is active now. We've reached an endgame. And now my opponent sees, oh, look, this is weak. Let me get my knight here by going da, 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 da. And then that would be terrible for me. So let me stop that. But you need to know this type of stuff. So basically, I saw that in 1 second. I actually got lucky, okay? Because when he played this move is when I realized, oh, he's actually trying to do that, but I didn't realize it that second. I realized it like right after I played this move. The whole point was that I wanted to play bishop to e4. But I just so happened to get lucky. So now I just have a strong space advantage. And the thing about space is this is where the end game part comes in. You need to know how to finish the game. Basically, don't drop any pieces. Don't give up any counterplay. Just crush him. Basically, you have all this space. The only thing that can help with that is reading books and looking at master games. Now, this is trouble for black. I have a passed pawn. Well, I'm going to get a passed pawn. It's troublesome. Black thinks he has a tactic. Thinking that king takes and then bishop takes, winning a piece, but sorry, bro. That was a terrible mistake. Now he's trying to shake me up, but it's not having any effect. Now I'm thinking, oh, should I trade the bishop and then move the knight there to protect this pawn? Should I move the knight there? Nothing works because I'm dropping this pawn. And I don't want to allow my opponent any counterplay, but I then see I could push this pawn. And if he takes me, kaboom. I take this pawn and promote unstoppably. So he has no choice, but this is clearly losing. And here, knight to d7 wins, but it took me one more move to find it. And basically, getting good is all about, at this level, the technique needed to finish endgames. And also, like, to prevent anything from you losing. So like in this, I reached a bad position, but I already knew this was a draw because this is the first rank defense, and everyone knows the first rank defense if you know about endgame. So first rank defense, rook endgames. The back rank defense. So this only works with knight pawns. Should be in here. So you see that he has a knight's pawn, but black, if you study this endgame, draws. And so I'm so confident about this that, like, watch this. This is an easily drawing endgame. Just rook takes, king takes, and then king to f6 drawing. It's a king and pawn endgame. But I'm so confident, like, look, let me show you. This is a completely flat draw. Here, I could just take the pawn as well. But, you know, like in my mind, I'm like, dude, this is a draw. There's nothing you can do. You can study the endgame for yourself. So at this level, I held the points. At this level, it's all about endgame knowledge. Like, everyone's good in the opening, or decent. They're decent. Okay, they're not like masters. They don't know moves, like they don't have the moves memorized, but they know the principles enough that they won't get a losing position out of the opening. The middle game, everyone's good at the middle game here for the most part. Like, you can see that in the game over here, my opponent, you know, he held his part, but he gave me a strong space advantage. So I knew not to make this exchange because I had more space. Why would I exchange all my furniture when I have a big house, right? I would just be empty inside. My house would be empty inside. So you need to know that as well. Middle game principles. And then the end game is, well, you're going to get to the end at these levels and you need to know how to finish, because it'll be embarrassing if you just lose a winning end game. So that's it for this. Hopefully you learned something from this video. Make sure to give it a like, thumbs up by clicking the gray thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, make sure to comment if you have any suggestions, and that's it.